I wanted to bring Paula Makaburi into this conversation, the Papuan activist with the Institute of Papuan Advocacy and Human Rights. Can you talk about the investigation? You work closely with the Indonesian police investigators as well as the FBI. You're speaking out on this now for the first time in exile in Australia. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, actually, I was involved with that investigation in the first year when that time happened, and then we knew that the attitude in the ground is changing, and then we would like to know who is there in that hill attack those civilians. So I worked closely with the police team in the other side, like, because we were close to the local people, and then we got information that actually those Kopassus members already take place before these groups went there, and then it seems like the police preliminary investigations, it's matched our information from the ground that the executors in the hill is the military themselves. Why I say this? Because according to Antonio Suarman's testimony in the beginning, that on the 28th of August, actually they were there at that crime scenes, built up their camps, but they also saw those Indonesian Kopassus already took place in the nearby area. It's 2 days before the attack. And then again, during the attack, Antonio Suarman claims that he just showed the other part of that, the right side of the vehicle, and then I believe that after I talked to other persons being named by Antonio Suarman at the same time, they also have different stories with Antonius. So it seems like Antonius, in the beginning, during the FBI investigations, when I took him to meet them, he also produced two different stories again and again, that he involved and not involved. And then during the time, FBI asked him who paid him to tell them the story. So I went there to guerrilla leaders, to the Kelly Qualic groups in the jungle, and then I asked them. All of them didn't know what's going on up on the hill. And then they said that it is Askan News, and then who were there. One of the witnesses who already got killed, he witnessed that the other groups were there on the other side. They just shot once, and then they understand that the shooting is not kill anyone. And then there is another people from the other side.
Paula,
can you look at the evidence?
Can you describe, after working closely with the FBI, when they first came onto the crime scene, what was their line of questioning? And were they looking at Indonesian military being involved in the attack?
Yeah, I would like to let the listener or American citizens know that actually I'm the West Papuan human rights worker who tried to work closely with FBI. I'm very upset until today because justice and the truth that we would like to achieve through these very professional institutions are far away from what we would like to achieve. Because I saw that FBI are failed to get to investigate those Indonesian military officers. I think the Indonesian police has been trying to do their best in the beginning, and we all understand. I'm the Papuan. I understand what's going on in that area. And then we knew exactly that the Kopassus in that area were involved. If we go through the evidence, SBY at the time, when he tried to stall that the investigations in the first year when the shooting happened, this could give chance to the people there in that ground to remove all that evidence. If the FBI care about justice, about those American victims, they should be there in the first place, in the first time. So and then we could see that some of the witnesses being intimidated and terror. Those Indonesians themselves, those drivers who passed by at that day during that attacking, and then some of the Freeport workers who were on the crime scenes at the time, it is now not working anymore at Freeport.
Paul, I wanted to go to John Miller, who is National Coordinator of the East Timor and Indonesia Action Network. John, the significance of what is being laid out here, of what Paula found working with the FBI and the Indonesian police, as well as this implicating Yudhoyono, the man who could well be elected president today as the results come in. Of Indonesia.
At the time these killings happened, the U.S. was moving to restore the military relationship with Indonesia that had been cut off in the aftermath of the violence in East Timor in 1999. And
when East Timor voted for its freedom.
For independence, and the country was destroyed for its trouble.
The Indonesian military burned it to the ground as the people of Timor voted.
Directed by one of the vice presidential candidates, General Suharto. And this became a snag, a roadblock in that effort. So the more that could be done on the Indonesian and U.S. side to disassociate the Indonesian military from these killings, the hope was that that would then speed up the effort to particularly restore military training, IMET, which was actually the first thing that was cut off back in the early 90s after the Santa Cruz massacre in East Timor. And the Indonesian police, as Paula and Eben have said, found that they thought the military was involved. Subsequent investigations have pointed to that, except for any of the official investigations. And it's not surprising that SBY would be involved in doing damage control for the military.
SBY, again, the president, Yudhoyono.
Right, and he's, I think in his presidency has shown that he's very uninterested, despite some good human rights rhetoric, in accountability for past human rights crimes that have taken place.
And tell us for what Freeport-McMoRan is, the significance of one of the largest gold and copper mining operations in the world, the U.S. multinational.
New Orleans and Austin-based corporation. It's a U.S. company. It was one of the first big U.S. multinationals led in by Suharto, the former dictator of Indonesia, after he overthrew Sukarno, the founding president. And it's one of the biggest income generators for the Indonesian government. And it's considered by the Papuans a big thorn in their side. It's environmentally very damaging. They don't feel they get enough of the money that comes into Indonesia to pay for the gold and the royalties for the resources. And Freeport has, therefore, an inordinate influence on U.S.-Indonesia relationship on both sides.